The story follows a man confronting a long-buried moment from his past, where inaction and silence have shaped his life more powerfully than any single event. The sound comes first, a low, uneven hum like an old machine breathing in the dark. It fills the silence before the image appears, vibrating gently through the walls and into the chest. Then light arrives, thin and pale, slipping through a narrow crack between heavy curtains. Dust awakens inside it, drifting slowly, as if time itself has slowed down to watch. A man stands in the center of the room. He does not move. His breathing is steady, deliberate, controlled with quiet effort. The room smells of cold air, old paper, and something metallic, like rain left too long on iron. This place has learned his shape. Every shadow fits him perfectly. On the wall hangs a calendar. It is slightly torn, its edges soft from years of touch. Every date is crossed out with thick black lines, pressed hard enough to leave grouper. All but one. Today remains clean, untouched, almost glowing in its emptiness. Outside, the city is already alive. Tires whisper against wet asphalt. Somewhere, a train groans awake. The sounds reach the room faintly, filtered as if they belong to another world. In here, silence feels heavier, packed tight with unsaid things. The hum stops suddenly. Silence floods the space, sharp and absolute. The man closes his eyes. For a brief moment, he feels weightless, like the second before falling asleep or the instant before impact. Years ago, he believed silence was empty. Now he knows better. Silence remembers everything. He lives above an abandoned cinema, a building forgotten by progress and spared by chance. The posters downstairs still promise stories that will never play again. Heroes frozen mid-action. Faces smiling toward an audience that no longer exists. At night, the wind rattles the old marquee, producing a hollow, broken rhythm. 7 years have passed since he arrived here. 7 years measured not by seasons but by repetition. Wake before dawn. Avoid mirrors. Leave no lights on longer than necessary. Memory is easier to manage in the dark. Once, he was someone else. Someone louder. Someone visible. The city still carries his name like a bruise it refuses to touch. This morning feels different. Not louder, not brighter, just heavier, as if the air itself knows what the calendar does. The man opens his eyes and looks at the light on the floor. It has moved forward, inch by inch, patient and unstoppable. Today is not waiting anymore. He feels it in his hands first, a faint tremor beneath the skin. Not fear. Recognition. The kind that arrives before understanding. He listens, straining past the walls, past the building, past the city, searching for a sound he cannot name but knows too well. The floor is cold under his bare feet. Each step leaves no mark, no proof of movement. He prefers it that way. Proof has a way of surviving longer than intentions. Near the window, the glass carries faint scratches, shallow lines carved absent-mindedly over countless nights. Marks made while thinking, while waiting. The streetlight outside flickers once, twice, then steadies. A small thing, a meaningless thing. And yet his pulse answers it, quick and sharp. Somewhere deep inside, a door he has kept locked begins to shift. Not open. Just enough to let something breathe. The day has begun, and it knows exactly where to find him. He exhales slowly, tasting dust and morning. There will be no turning back after this. The room feels smaller now, its corners inching closer, attentive. He straightens his shoulders, not in confidence, but in surrender. Whatever has been waiting has grown tired of patience, and today, finally, it will be heard. The light reaches the edge of the calendar. Today is fully illuminated. The man does not look away. He lets the moment settle in him, heavy and final, like the last note of a song that refuses to fade. Somewhere far below, a door opens. The sound travels upward. He hears it, and for the first time in years, he is ready. The silence finally begins to listen. Today, the building exhales as he steps into the stairwell. The door closes behind him with a muted click, final and precise. The air here is cooler, damp with old concrete and rusted railings. Every step downward echoes too loudly, as if the structure itself is counting. He moves slowly, fingers grazing the wall for balance. The paint flakes at his touch, surrendering in dry curls. This stairwell has watched him leave thousands of times and return fewer. It remembers. Outside, morning has fully arrived. The sky is the color of worn steel, light stretched thin behind low clouds. Traffic moves with tired determination. People pass without looking, wrapped in their private urgencies. He blends into them easily. That used to comfort him. The cinema entrance gapes open, its glass doors long removed. Inside, dust and shadows share the space equally. Sunlight breaks through holes in the ceiling, forming pale columns that illuminate rows of abandoned seats. The smell is unmistakable: fabric, decay, forgotten applause. He crosses the lobby, footsteps swallowed by thick carpets bleached by time. Posters line the walls, their colors drained, their promises ironic. Stories of rescue, of redemption. He avoids their eyes. At the center of the theater, he stops. This is where it happened. Not dramatically. Not all at once. Just a sequence of choices made too quietly to interrupt. His heartbeat slows, the world narrows. Sounds dull, as though submerged. He feels the weight return, settling into his shoulders, familiar and patient. From his coat pocket, he removes a small recorder. Its surface is scratched, corners softened by years of handling. He turns it over in his palm, feeling its temperature, remembering when it last captured something that mattered. He presses play. Static blooms, steadies. A room from the noise, empty, waiting. The acoustics confirm his fear. This place, this moment. Recorded. The tape continues. A shuffle, a breath, not his own. The sound pulls him backward, dragging memory into the light. He remembers standing here, 7 years younger, convinced that silence could protect him. He remembers choosing not to act, letting time decide. The recorder clicks off by itself. Silence rushes in, heavier than before. He swallows, throat tight. Outside, a car horn blares, impatient and alive. He realizes then what today truly is. Not an ending, not a beginning, a return. The city did not forget. Neither did the building. Neither did the sound. He pockets the recorder and turns toward the exit. The light has shifted again, angling sharply through the broken ceiling. Dust swirls, disturbed. Behind him, somewhere deep within the theater, something settles, not gone, just awake. He steps back into the street, carrying the weight with him. Today has claimed its shape, and it will not be denied. He walks without destination, letting the sidewalks decide. Each intersection feels charged, as if any turn could fracture the day. The air smells of fuel and whetstone. Somewhere above, a helicopter traces a slow circle, its distant thrum vibrating in his ribs. Memories surface in fragments. A voice he trusted. A moment delayed by hesitation. Consequences unfolding quietly, efficiently. No villain. No hero. Just absence where action should have been. He passes a shop window and catches his reflection by accident. Older, narrower. The eyes unchanged. They still know. He looks away. The recorder grows heavier in his pocket, pulsing with imagined sound. He understands now that the tape was never meant to warn him. It was meant to remind him that the past does not rot. It waits. Ahead, the street narrows. Light fades between buildings. He slows, heart steady, resolve hardening. Whatever listens today will hear him clearly. For the first time in years, he does not resist the pull. He follows it. The city seems to hold its breath with him, pace-sacked. As footsteps fade and the morning sharpens into truth, head. The narrow street guides him downward, away from traffic and noise. Buildings lean closer here, their windows dark, brickwork scarred by decades of weather and neglect. The air thickens, carrying the scent of damp stone and old electricity. Every step feels deliberate, chosen by something older than intention. He becomes aware of sound again, not the city's constant murmur, but subtler things. The scrape of his shoe against gravel, the faint hum of power lines overhead, his own breathing, slow but weighted, as if each inhale must pass through memory before reaching his lungs. At the end of the street stands a structure half swallowed by shadow. An auxiliary wing of the archive, decommissioned after the incident. No signs, no lights. The door remains unlocked, more out of neglect than invitation. He pauses, hand hovering, skin tingling with quiet resistance. Touch confirms reality. Cold metal, solid, present. Inside, the temperature drops. The smell is sharper here, cleaner but lonelier. Fluorescent lights flicker to life reluctantly, revealing rows of shelves stripped bare. Only one remains occupied. A single box rests there, unmarked and precise, waiting where it should not be. He approaches slowly. The floor creaks beneath him, protesting the intrusion. The box is heavier than expected, its card reinforced, its edges taped with care. Someone wanted this preserved. He sets it on a table. Dust lifts and settles again. The lid opens with a soft tear, the sound strangely intimate. Inside, tapes. Of them. All identical. All unlabeled. His pulse tightens. This is not coincidence. This is accumulation. A record not of events, but of patience. He selects one at random and loads it into the nearest player. The machine accepts it with mechanical obedience. The reels turn. Silence. Longer than before. So long it almost convinces him the tape is blank. Then a sound emerges. Not a room. Not breath. A pause. A deliberate absence, shaped and held. His chest constricts. He recognizes this too. The sound of waiting for something terrible to be acknowledged. The sound he made once, standing just out of sight, choosing stillness over interruption. The tape continues. Somewhere far away, metal shifts. A door perhaps, or a future. He stops the machine, fingers trembling now despite effort. The truth settles in layers. These recordings were not made to document an event. They were made to preserve the moment before action. The moment where responsibility can still be claimed. All of them are his. Not his voice, his silence. The lights flicker overhead, responding to a power surge or something less explainable. The hum returns, low and uneven, echoing the sound from his apartment. The day is folding inward, connecting its edges. He realizes the archive did not summon him back. He built it to wait. Outside, thunder rolls distantly, muted by the buildings, a storm forming without urgency. Time enough to decide, or to repeat. He closes the box. The decision is no longer abstract. These tapes can remain here, buried and inert. Or they can be released, heard, understood for what they are. Proof is heavy. He feels it in his arms, in his spine. As he lifts the box, the lights stabilize. The hum evens out. Somewhere, something settles again, disappointed or relieved. He cannot tell. He turns toward the exit, carrying years compressed into cardboard and magnetic tape. Each step forward feels like stepping into colder water, breath held, muscles braced. Outside, the sky darkens further. The first drops of rain strike the pavement, sharp and decisive. He steps into it without hesitation. Water soaks his coat, his skin. The sensation grounds him, immediate and real. Across the street, a building displays a cracked mirror of glass. His reflection fractures across it. He does not avoid it this time. He studies it carefully, committing it to memory. This is the man who will decide what happens next. Thunder answers, closer now. The city absorbs the sound and keeps moving. He adjusts his grip on the box and walks on, rain erasing his footprints as quickly as they form. The storm has chosen its direction, and so has he. The rain intensifies, turning streets into reflective ribbons of light and shadow. Water drums against glass skin. The city's rhythm changes under the storm, slowing just enough to feel deliberate. He walks through it steadily, the box held tight against his chest, cardboard darkening as it absorbs the weight of the weather. Each feels watched, not by people, by memory. He reaches the river that cuts the city in two, its surface churning, thick and restless. The bridge ahead rises like a narrow spine, streetlights glowing weakly through sheets of rain. This is the crossing he avoided for years, the shortest way, the most exposed. Halfway across, he stops. Traffic hisses past behind him, indifferent. The wind presses hard, tugging at his coat, testing his balance. Below, the river roars, swollen and impatient, carrying fragments of debris toward places unnamed. He sets the box on the railing. For a moment, the world narrows to sensation. Cold metal under his palms, rain slipping down his neck. The vibration of passing engines trembling through the bridge's bones. His heart beats louder than the storm. This is where began. Years ago, he stood in another place like this, holding knowledge without action, believing neutrality was safety. He remembers the exact texture of that moment, the stillness before consequence, the comfort of doing nothing. Waits. Inside it, hours of recorded absence hum faintly, as if aware of their proximity to release. Proof that silence is not passive, that it leaves fingerprints. He lifts the lid one last time. The tapes stare back, identical, patient. He understands now that destroying them would be easy. One motion, one decision, the river would accept them without judgment. His hands tremble harder than before. From fear. From the weight being seen. He imagines the sound spreading outward if he lets them go. The archive reopening. The recordings heard. The past arranging itself around truth. Lives shifting. His name resurfacing, no longer as a shadow, but as a cause. Thunder cracks overhead, violent and close. The bridge shudders. Rain lashes sideways, blinding and urgent. The city seems to lean toward him, waiting for resolution. He closes the box carefully. The choice lands not with drama, but with exhaustion, the kind that follows long avoidance. He lifts the box again, muscles burning, and steps away from the railing. The river roars its disappointment. As he reaches the far side of the bridge, the rain begins to soften. The storm exhales, having spent its argument. The sky remains dark, but lighter somehow, as if something has shifted behind the clouds. Ahead stands the courthouse, stone and glass, its lights glowing steady and unyielding. It has always been there, unchanged, waiting as patiently as the tapes. He approaches its steps slowly. Each one feels heavier than the last. The box digs into his arms. His breath shortens. The past resists being carried into the open. At the top, he stops. The doors loom, tall and impersonal. Reflections ripple across their surface, distorting him, multiplying him. He sees not one man, but many versions layered together. The one who waited, the one who hid, the one who is here now. Rainwater drips from his sleeves, pooling at his feet. The sound echoes in the quiet, rhythmic and exposed. He shifts his grip. Inside the building, lights hum steadily. Systems ready to receive what they were designed for. Truth does not demand emotion, only presence. He takes a breath, deep and full, filling spaces long kept closed. The air tastes clean, sharp with rain and stone. Then, pushes the door. It opens. Behind him, the storm continues to fade. Ahead, the silence changes shape. Inside, the air is still, conditioned, almost sterile. The courthouse absorbs sound the way water absorbs light. Footsteps soften. Breathing slows. Even thoughts seem to move more carefully here. He stands just past the threshold, letting the door close behind him with a measured, echoing finality. The box feels heavier now, not because of its contents, but because it has crossed a line. Fluorescent lights stretch down long corridors, clean and impartial. They illuminate everything evenly, offering no shadows to hide in. His reflection appears in polished floors and glass partitions, repeated and fragmented, but clearer than before. There is no avoiding it here. He walks. Each step forward loosens in something inside him. Not relief, not regret, something closer to alignment, as if his body is finally moving in the same direction as his conscience. He passes empty benches, closed offices, muted signage. The building is awake but quiet, like a witness holding its breath. Somewhere deep within, systems are already running, ready to catalog, preserve, expose. Machines do not judge hesitation. They only record what is given. He reaches the intake desk and places the box down gently. Cardboard meets stone with a dull, unmistakable sound. The moment expands, stretching thin, waiting for him to retreat. It's not. His hands rest on the lid for a second longer than necessary. The rainwater still clinging to his skin cools, seeping into fabric, reminding him of the world outside. The world that will soon know what has been waiting. He straightens. The act itself is simple. Almost disappointingly so. No announcement, no audience. Just a transfer of weight from one place to another, responsibility changing hands. And yet, as he steps back, something inside him shifts, irreversibly. The silence he carried for years does not disappear, it transforms. It no longer presses inward. It expands outward, becoming space instead of confinement. He leaves the building without urgency. Outside, the rain has stopped completely. The city glistens, scrubbed clean, reflective. Streetlights glow warmer now, halos softened by moisture on glass. He pauses at the top of the steps and looks out. People move through the streets, unaware of the small, quiet fracture that has just occurred. A fracture that will widen with time. Truth rarely announces itself. It seeps. He feels lighter, not absolved, not forgiven, just present. The past will surface soon, reassembled by hands that were not afraid to look. Names will be spoken. Timeline is corrected. Silence reinterpreted. His role will be visible at last, stripped of intention and excuse. He accepts that. Turning away, he walks into the evening. No destination. No plan. Just movement. The city receives him without comment. Behind him, in a building of stone and light, machines begin their work. Tapes spin. Absence becomes evidence. Waiting becomes record. And somewhere, far from the archive, far from the river, the abandoned cinema settles for the last time. Dust rests undisturbed. Posters fade further into irrelevance. The story it held has finally found another place to live. Night approaches slowly. Windows ignite one by one. The city resumes its layered hum, complex and indifferent. He moves through it, no longer trying to be invisible. The day does not end with resolution, it ends with continuation. What was locked away is now in motion. And silence, once mistaken for safety, has finally been broken, not by noise, but by the courage to let it be heard.